Hi everyone, this is Bebe Bakhshi. You also know me as Champagne Gem.
And hi everyone, I'm Feriel Zerouki, the President of the World Diamond Council.
And welcome to Diamonds Decoded.
Decoded.
Our podcast that we decided to start together. Feriel, tell us about Diamonds Decoded and how we came up with this brilliant idea.
So, Bebe and I often see each other. It's mutual admiration, let's say, on both sides. I love her work, and we always engage and talk about the technical things, any questions she has to ask. So, one day we were together in Italy, and she was giving me some questions that she was mainly getting from her followers.
Yes.
And, I would call those technical, boring questions, but we found a way to make them simple and fun and actually factual. So we said, why don't we expand this? We decided to launch it, Diamonds Decoded, on Diamond Day.
For Diamond Day, April 8th. I'm so glad that we managed to do this on such a momentum day. It is going to be amazing. And yes, over the years, I've known you for many years. I always look up to you. You are my female model, female entrepreneur, working mom, everything. Your work ethic is unbelievable. And you are my role model in every aspect of the things. And I always ask you some boring and stupid questions sometimes, and you are always so kind and explain this to me, and I'm like, oh my god, I really want to share it to my audience. They need to know about all this sustainability, transparency, everything. So I'm glad we managed to do this. Thank you for your time. And so Feriel, you have such a stellar career over the past 20 years in diamond industry. Can you tell us about that a bit?
Sure. Before I do, I just want to say this idea is yours, and I love it. Diamonds Decoded is about bringing the outside world in and decoding the mystery of the diamond industry from two players in the industry. Bebe is very front-facing, and she is my admiration. And I'm in the back end, working on the technical areas. So I've spent 20 years in the diamond industry. 20 years at De Beers. I have started at the bottom as an analyst and worked myself up to the executive committee. I have also spent many, many years sitting on boards of the trade associations that govern the diamond industry. And now
policies, yes.
Govern policies and responsible sourcing, sustainability, trade issues. And now I'm the president of the World Diamond Council. So, one thing I want to say is that beyond all the titles and the roles that I've held, really, I've spent the last 20 years learning about diamonds beyond the sparkle, the actual impact that they have. And I've been falling in love with diamonds and their impact over and over again. And I've used my position as much as possible to shape the future of natural diamonds.
So exactly on that point, because I always, on my end, I'm showing the beauty, the sparkle, the bling, all that. But of course, there is a much more deeper message behind every single diamond, every single natural diamond that is purchased. And that's the impact on people around the mining areas, around the mining towns, in the mining countries. So, can we talk about that a bit? How have you seen, because you also founded Gem Fair. So how are you seeing buying a single natural diamond, even a 1 carat, even a half a carat, can impact life of someone?
What is so unique about diamonds, and I can't associate this fact with any other product out there, but diamonds are actually nation building. So everyone likes to talk about Botswana, and I will too, because Botswana is a North Star. Botswana went from being one of the poorest nations in Africa to a middle income country in Africa because of its responsible governance of its own natural mineral resources, diamonds. Yes. And so the revenue from diamonds, which equates to about 30% of their GDP, has been invested in schooling, in healthcare, in roads, in infrastructure. So if you were born in Botswana, you would get free education all the way through to university, unlike me, who came out of uni in debt.
Yeah.
And when you need to see the hospital when you're ill, or there's free healthcare for everybody. And that's because of diamonds. But beyond just Botswana, you mentioned Gemfair.
Yes.
Gemfair is it's such a beautiful, beautiful business, one that does good by doing well. It is one that has redefined the term of sustainability in my eyes.
Yes.
And Gemfair was born out of this need to connect artisanal mining, which often people speak about artisanal mining, they show terrible images and they somehow link it with criminality, which is really, frankly, unfair. Artisanal mining is a beautiful thing. It's job creation. It's a story of livelihood. It's not a story of despair. And if done correctly, it's a story that is commercial, livelihood, and a wonderful story that connects each diamond with one individual all the way through the supply chain to the actual consumer.
Yeah. That is absolutely beautiful. Well, we are all still suffering from Blood Diamond movie. So what can we say about that? Like, it's impacting. Like, it's still like I get comments, oh, it's Blood Diamond. No, it's not. Like, it's been many years that there has been no Blood Diamond because of Kimberley Process, because of all the policies that are in place, that making sure there is no money laundering or criminal groups are related to diamond industry. So can you touch base on that a bit for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So the movie Blood Diamond has unfortunately educated the majority. Now, the issue of blood diamonds did exist, and that we must take seriously. That has been part of the story of natural diamonds, but not just natural diamonds. Frankly, it's been the story of society back in the day, way before you were born, before I was born. So the story of a blood diamond is actually linked to the wars in Sierra Leone and Angola, when diamonds as a product of value were used by rebels to fund the wars. Rebels against the legitimate government. And so at that point, NGOs connected the trade of artisanally mined diamonds with the funding of armament to support these rebel groups, and raised this issue on a public platform. And at that point, that's when the trade got together to say, with governments and NGOs, to say, this can't happen. Our product cannot be connected to harm. And that's when the Kimberley Process was created. And to your point, the Kimberley Process was created to set rules and policies to make it extremely difficult and illegal to trade diamonds that do not originate from countries that participate in the Kimberley Process. And so the KP, I'll call it the KP for now, it sets rules on governments in terms of how stable they need to be, what type of policies they must have for companies that are trading in their country, the type of licensing, the type of transparency that's required. And each country must get audited and reviewed through a peer review mechanism to maintain its compliance, to make sure it's compliance. And in addition to that, it publishes the export figures of the year, and there's a public-facing, part of the website where anyone can actually go and see normal export figures from all countries on an annual basis that participate within the KP. If diamonds come from a country that doesn't participate in the KP, then that means it is illegal for them to be traded across international borders. So it really does make it difficult. And as you know, war has changed. I mean, the times of those types of wars being linked to natural diamonds, it's not the time of today, is it? As I sit here today, I'm not thinking about, deadly wars in Africa. There's many other wars, right? And they're certainly not being funded by diamonds. There is, however, in many continents, there is conflict that exists right? And the KP has made sure that those conflicts are not funded by diamonds. But there are conflicts right now that are funded by other minerals because there is no Kimberley process. And so those businesses and also NGOs and government officials that are looking to address the issue with other minerals are actually looking at the Kimberley process as a footprint, as a blue book, essentially, to follow.
So like even just listening to this, I'm like, okay, so diamond industry has actually been way forward in making sure diamonds are traded legally and they are not linked to money laundering, to armed criminals, to armed wars like rebels. And still we hear blood diamonds. So I'm so glad that you actually managed to say this, because now I can tell my followers, yes, you see, we are actually way more forward than other mining sectors in making sure that these wars are not funded by diamonds. I'm so happy to hear that. And regarding ESG, environmental social governance, and so ESG policies in diamond industry like goes back to integrity, social impact, people that we touched base on, and also traceability and transparency. So you also founded Tracer, right? When you were at De Beers.
Yes, I did. And I can tell you that it's been a journey. Okay. It's been a very long journey because the Kimberley process was started in 2000.
Yes.
And back then, it was great. It was still, actually, now it's great. You know, you've got 86 governments that have to agree on policies and procedures and implement them on an annual basis. Now, that handles rough diamonds only. It does not handle polished diamonds or the rest of the supply chain, because the focus is really on mining and production.
Origin of country, like, yeah.
Exactly. And so the trade got together and started developing other policies without any pressure from governments. I can talk about De Beers. De Beers was the first to create a mechanism that would review the full supply chain from mine to finger. They called it the best practice principles. It's also publicly available.
Yes.
And it ensures that all the other risks that could exist in a supply chain, whether it be in a cutting and polishing factory, whether it be in a trading business, or whether it be at retail level, are addressed. And everyone that is a customer of De Beers or that manages diamonds that originated from one of the De Beers mines must comply with the best practice principles. And it's not like a sign up, I'll do this type situation, trust me. No, it's not like that. We used to send in, and they send in auditors, third-party auditors, to verify the full supply chain every year. So they'll send in auditors, yeah. Every single customer is audited, and they have annual reports. And to maintain your relationship, your commercial relationship with De Beers, you need to comply with the audit requirements. So that's just one thing. But the rest of the industry also got together to create the Responsible Jewellery Council, right?
Yes, of course.
De Beers was also part of that creation.
Yeah.
Because we needed the bookends, we needed the miners and we needed the retailers. And the big ones got together and heavily subsidized the creation of the Responsible Jewellery Council.
Yes.
And now anyone can join the RJC, I'll call it the RJC, and get audited themselves, to prove that they're complying with the right policies and governance.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that they can substantiate their claims, hey, I'm saying I'm a good guy. Well, yeah, because here's the verification. Don't believe me, believe the auditor. So there's lots of that going on. And it's frustrating. It is frustrating for someone like me to hear, this label, because the label of blood diamonds, it's like a PR campaign that's sometimes weaponized by bad players against the natural diamond industry, players with bad intention, because it's easy to attack and throw the stone so that nobody actually looks at what you're up to, you know? So
Exactly.
I think it's very frustrating, but good news stories, you know, they don't travel. You know,
No, exactly. And yes, like I don't think like my audience would hear someone from World Diamond Council to actually like talk about this to them, like and like bringing all this information to them like on a silver platter. Like now ask me what is a blood diamond, now ask me why natural diamond. So now I'm like very well equipped now to answer that, because you know you always like feel like, oh my god, like what is happening, like all of a sudden in one post you get like 100 comments of, oh bad like blood, what, who are you, like it is quite frustrating, but I'm glad that we have this platform now. Back to Tracer. Can you tell us about how Tracer is actually helping the end consumer to learn the story and see the impact they have on where the diamond is coming from, the origin?
you're right. I didn't finish the journey. So it's like part of a much bigger
I know.
infrastructure. So you've got the KP, then you've got your BPPs or the RJC, which means the company itself is doing good, right?
Yes.
And then we developed this mechanism called pipeline integrity. And what that does is it secures the pipeline. So if you're buying diamonds from De Beers, you would have to secure that pipeline and not mix with any other diamonds that you're getting from another source. Because the reason is aggregation, you know, mixing is a very
Yes.
important part. You know, you can't have a beautiful tennis bracelet with those specific diamonds of a specific size, quality, and all from one
One.
mine. It's just
Yes.
not possible. So, but aggregation became a problem for many people. They were saying, oh, but, you know, how do we know that you haven't mixed in diamonds from unknown sources or questionable sources? So, the only way we could do that was actually through digital innovation. And that's 20, it was in 2014, we started looking at blockchain technology. And it
Yes.
took us 4 years of hard work. I kid you not, 4 years of deciphering what blockchain is and understanding how it can work within our supply chain to be able to prove and trace a diamond from rough all the way to polish. So from the mine to the consumer's hands. And it's not easy. It is not easy because a diamond comes out and it's transformed. So one diamond can turn into one polished diamond. One diamond can turn into 3,000 polished diamonds, right?
Yes.
So the point, the data integrity that we really needed to focus on was the rough to polished, right? And that's why it took such a long time,
Yeah.
because Tracer was not going to accept just disclosures, you know, the industry to say, yeah, this is definitely the polish from this rough. No, it had to have the mechanisms to test the actual digital
Go
to the
back
physical.
go back and see.
Yes, and we had to create hardware. We had to create hardware that would create the footprint of a rough diamond that you could link back to the polished diamond. So, not self disclosure, verifiable information to make sure that the data was correct. And it's the only platform where the data starts at source, meaning from the mines, at scale, meaning all that volume with the verifiable information. And add to that, it's third party audited as well.
Yes.
Now, as that was being created, our objective was to be able to tell the consumer the story of their diamond. Because once a consumer finds out the real story of their diamond, they will fall, as I did, they will fall in
Yeah.
love over and over and over again.
And
Okay.
every
So
time they look at the ring, they're like, oh my God, like,
yeah, your diamond comes from, you know, one of, you know, this country, and here's the impact that it's had on whether it be SDG 5, you
environmental.
know,
Yes.
gender equality or environmental impact or social
Yes.
impact, whatever it is. Like, this is what your diamond did, and thank you, you know.
Yeah.
So, and you could also add to it, you know, if my diamond is on Tracer, one day my diamond will be inherited by my daughter,
Yes.
and she
Yeah.
can unlock it with a beautiful message from
Yeah.
me to my child, you know,
Yeah.
that only she can see, that she can build on.
Yeah.
So that was the objective. But when we were building this, I because I come from Algeria and I come from a very small village called Ndauroush, I'm very aware of not leaving anyone behind. And so in this digital future, we we were worried. The team was really worried that we were going to leave the artisanal mining sector behind, a sector that is already exploited because they are off the grid, a sector where we have zero involvement because we're a large scale miner, and not so much information because the nature of the informality of it does not give you much data.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we said, okay, we cannot do Tracer if we don't do GemFair.
Yeah.
That's the reason why GemFair was born. GemFair was born to act as a conduit from artisanal miners to prove that we can develop a digital solution that would work off the grid to connect the artisanal mining sector with this digital future that we are seeing as Tracer.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, it is.
To all your audience, please look up gemfair.com. It is a beautiful story. It is one that is a story of people, a story of livelihoods. And, you know, it is a direct response to the Blood Diamond movie by Leonardo DiCaprio. We chose Sierra Leone, okay? We chose Sierra Leone. And guess what? Sierra Leone is nothing like in the movie. It is a beautiful country full of wonderful people. It is a peaceful country, and it is one that has a great potential for tourism. Beautiful beaches, safe and extremely welcoming with some great food, and beautiful, beautiful diamonds.
Of course, yes. We cannot miss that part. Ferial, just a light touch base on sustainability, but we are going to come back to it like full on in our next episode. Hopefully, it will be together in one room. About sustainability, you mentioned one thing that actually stayed with me since Italy. You said diamonds are sustainable, and because they never actually leave this world. And you are right. They are always on the earth, like on a finger, around the neck, as a rough in a museum, or like in all these royal jewels. So actually they never leave this earth. So like it's not like gas that's gonna like disappear. It's not consumable. It's gonna stay. If it has been here before us, it's gonna stay here after us. So like, can you touch base on that? It really stayed with me, and I'm like, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, I think we were sat down having coffee, and you said, "Oh, I don't think diamonds are sustainable." And I said, "Why is that?" And you said to me, "Because like once you take it out of the mine, you can't put it back in." And for me, it's really important to listen to understand someone else's perspective.
Yeah, that was like mining diamonds is not sustainable. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so based on what I understood you were saying, that's when I said, well, hang on a minute, because that means that any manufactured product is sustainable. Doesn't matter how much electricity is being used, whether we're burning the ground of the earth at the same, it's sustainable, like agriculture or whatever, because we can just make as much as we want, right? But it doesn't work that way. So what's really important is the definitions that we are using. And I noticed that sustainability, even in a panel of experts, many people have different definitions, and it's because it hasn't really been defined. But a diamond in itself is not biodegradable. So it is actually the most sustainable thing you can own because it's never going to change shape.
Yes.
It's the strongest element on this planet, and it's already billions of years old. So it's going to totally outlive whatever future we can imagine. And my diamond, like your diamond, you know, it has seen some things, okay? It has seen like dinosaurs walking through, it's seen their extinction, it's seen all the religious messengers of all religions walking the planet. And it has spent only a tiny little fraction of its life with me. and it will spend a tiny of its fraction of its life with my daughter when she inherits this, and so on and so forth. So it is the most sustainable thing that I own, okay, of value, because it's not going to be damaged. But in terms of sustainability, I don't believe that a product can be labeled sustainable or not sustainable, because I'm of the school of thought that it is the actors that can claim sustainability or not. Doesn't matter what you do as a human being, as a business, as a child, you impact the environment that you're working in. Okay.
Yeah.
And so if I'm a good actor, I am going to understand my impact. I am going to minimize what I can, eliminate the rest, and actually do good to put back. And that's where ESG matters. If I'm a bad player,
it doesn't matter what you do.
Exactly. So anyone that says they're ethical because, they use this product or that, they're lying. It is a way for them to do nothing. I always call them out. I say, what is it that you do? What do you do to make this world a better place? And so I worked very hard under this trade association called SIBJO to develop guidelines for when people claim sustainability, when they claim responsible sourcing, when they claim that their product is ethical.
Where's your proof?
This is it. And it's called the blue list. And there's clear definitions. And let me talk you through them. Think of a triangle.
Yeah.
Base of the triangle is what we call responsible sourcing. Responsible sourcing at a very high level means that you meet international requirements. You comply with the law. Okay. And so the majority of the industry can claim that. That's why it's the base of the triangle.
Yeah.
If you want to claim ethics, we did so much research, and ethics is very difficult because ethics in dictionary is linked to your morality. And,
and business,
people have different morals.
Yes, exactly. They don't follow the same moral.
People have different morals, and the world is getting even more and more divided. So, people have different morals. Who says that my morals are right over yours? So it's a hard one. So the way we've developed it is within the ESG framework. So we said responsible sourcing is you're meeting international requirements, the law. That means governance. That's your G. Ethics means that you are not just meeting, you are exceeding on the S, the social. So for example, if I am a woman and I am working in, I don't know, the US, and I've just had a baby, I think the US gives you something like 3 months, maybe less. Your viewers will tell.
Yeah, probably, yes.
3 months? Okay. And as a business, I decide to give all of my employees a much longer, let's say double the time. As a business
owner,
that's my value that I'm going to be giving to my employees. Then you can claim ethics. So the S, the morality, is linked to the S, which is clearly defined in the ESG framework under social standards. And so less people can say that in the triangle. And then you've got the tip of the iceberg. Those that claim sustainability, they have sustainable practices. So that's where you have to meet your G, your E, and you bring in, your G, your S, and you bring in your E, your environmental impact. And that means you must know as a business the impact that you currently have. Right? So you need to measure it. You must declare it, and you must say, this is my impact and this is what I'm doing to minimize it. And here is my target.
This is how I'm going to reduce my carbon footprint in the next 10 years. Yes.
Exactly. So that's what I believe sustainability is around. Sustainability is about the actor doing things. It is not about the product. So if you guys are claiming sustainability based on the product that you're using, my eye's on you, because that's total nonsense. And for me, the most important thing is that consumers are told the truth. I don't care what you choose. You don't have to buy a sustainable product. You don't have to buy ethical product. It's your decision what you want. Maybe it means something to you. But you must be told the truth. You must be told the truth.
That's what I always emphasize. As long as you know what it is that you are buying and you are fine with it, good for you. Enjoy it. We are all here to enjoy a special and little moment. So whatever
Exactly.
is actually you're happy with and content with. So if you're happy with it, to buy a smaller natural diamond just to have that beautiful story and the impact, good for you. If you decided not to, that's also fine. But as long as you know what is it that you're buying and how are you gonna like deal with this story later. That's all I'm gonna say on
Exactly.
that topic.
Exactly. I think from a sales perspective, salespeople will say whatever to get the sales. And I've heard so much nonsense, when I go into the stores to do some shopping. And I hear this whole, buy lab grown because it's more ethical. That is total BS. It's total nonsense. What has the business done to be more ethical? That's what we need to know. You
Yeah,
know, oh, look at this recycled gold. It's recycled gold. Oh, it's better. That's nonsense because I know that recycled gold has huge implications on human rights if it's not done correctly. And
yeah,
it's also used to launder. So it's nonsense. I want to know what the business has done. And I urge everybody to, if these things matter to you, we can only impact change if we're asking the right questions.
exactly. So let's celebrate World Diamond Day, everyone. It's April 8th. Let's celebrate the beauty and eternal beauty of natural diamonds. Thank you, Feriel. It was like as always, I learned so much in just half an hour that we had together. And I really urge my followers, please submit questions. So next time we are having an episode, we can answer all of your questions.
Well, thank you so much, Bebe. It's been a pleasure. This is not my comfort zone, as you know, but I've really, really enjoyed it. So yes,
Me too.
let's bring the outside world in with Diamonds Decoded. Please send your questions in, and I'll do my best to get you the right information.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Thank you.